Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another videos, another paid request, this time from Steven. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the 1995 film Kiss of Death, which I remember seeing back in the day and never minded. And watching it again, I thought this was pretty decent crime, drama. I won't call it action. There's really not action in the movie. Crime film is the best way to put it. I think mostly because I like the cast. If you don't like the cast, you may not give a shit about the movie, but I quite like the cast, so that helps. It's directed by the same guy who did, I think the guy who did Single White Female. And it stars David Caruso. Now, I'm a fan of Caruso. I didn't watch much of NYPD Blue, although from what I understand, he was not on his best behavior on that. And then he quit on them to try to be a star, which did not work out, so he had 8 on his face, until he went back to TV, CSI Miami, and did that for like 10 years, which I'm sure was enough money to have him retire forever. And I know a lot of people don't like his acting style. Like this year, in 95, he got a Razzie nomination for Worst Actor for Jade and this movie. I disagree. People find his performance is laughable or they don't buy into it. I've always liked the guy as an actor. I love CSI Miami. One of the reasons I love the show is because of David Caruso. I like him in First Blood. He's one of the tops. I love Session 9. I like his work in that. And I like Jade. I like this movie. I like the stuff he starred in. I wish we could have seen more of it. But again, his films were not successful. And people were not really knocking on his door in terms of showcasing his talent. And it's a shame. But yeah, he stars as a guy that is an ex-con. He's trying to go the straight and narrow path. He has a daughter. He's married to Helen Hunt. Of course, will later be in Twister, among others, as good as it gets. And one day, his cousin, played by Michael Rappaport, comes in and goes, "Listen, please, I beg you. I need your help. I need your help. If I don't do this, they don't kill me." And Caruso's pissed at him. "Listen, I got my baby here. If I talk to you, I go to jail. Leave me alone." And this guy begs and begs and begs until ultimately Caruso does it because it's family. He wants to save his family member's life. He does it. By doing it, it's supposed to move these cars there's some illegal business going on. And there he meets one of the highlights of the film, Little Junior, played by Nicolas Cage. And he is fun in this movie. This is probably the one of the whole movie to be about this guy. Because he's a big, pumped up guy. I don't know if he definitely got muscled up for this. Or just looks bigger than usual. Like a big ape. But he's also got some asthma. And he has a certain vibe in his voice. And anytime he popped on screen, I was just mesmerized by him. When Caruso's beat him, and Nick just remove the fucking head. And like throughout the film, his character, whether it be you see him bench pressing a stripper, what do you eat lately? Or just stuff of that nature. Or just the way he says lines, like he's trying to get someone out of his dad's club. It's like, "Now, fucko." I don't mean to laugh at him. I mean, I'm laughing like generally enjoying what he's doing. And he brings a sense of, I don't know what the fuck you call it, but just a guy not to be messed with. An asthmatic animal. I guess I put it that way. And like I said, you have some other recognized people. You got Samuel Jackson as a cop, who is one of the people that stops. And some guy tries to shoot him, and David Caruso blocks it, so he shoots his hand and hits Nick Fury in the face. Caruso is really the only one to get arrested. He doesn't talk, so he's going to do jail time. And while he's doing that, Michael Rappaport, wow, what a sleazebait he plays. I think more of a sleazebait than Nick Cage. Because you're the one that got Caruso into this. Then you fuck with his wife. You try to hit on his wife while he's in jail. I like that. I forget the actor's name. I believe he played Chris Tucker's boss in the first Rush Hour. Even he knows this is going on. He thinks it's wrong, so he tells Nick Cage, and Nick Cage is like, "Hey, fucko. Take her home." And then you're, "To her house." But Michael Rappaport's a douchebag, takes her to his house. She wakes up. She's confused. "What are you doing here? Get out of my face." And this is where you get some surprises in this. Spoilers. She gets in her truck and then she swerves. She's out of it. Hangover. Hits a truck. Dies. And then Caruso finds out about this. I will say, when you hear him cry out, when the chaplain has him come in, something about the line reading, "No, God, Bev, no," was a bit laughable. I don't know if it's just either don't have that at all, just say we have something to tell you. It just, I don't know. Or have him redo another take. Just something about, I don't know, I don't know, it didn't, I did its meaning. I did what they were doing. I don't know, just something about it. Maybe that's not what Dave Caruso could do the best. Is that type of emotion. You know what? Doesn't it sound weird? Maybe in a way, the way I like David Caruso is kind of the way I like William Shatner. Is that I like them as actors, but there's a certain way they do roles, they act, that you could say is a bit of a campy factor, but at the same time I still enjoy and legitimately enjoy. And although I think Shatner can do a bit better emotional wise, like when he finds out his son's killed in Star Trek 2. So I would say Shatner's better than Caruso, but maybe in a way I like Caruso in that way. But I still like the guy. I didn't as an actor. And listen, the plot doesn't go like you think, and I think that's why when you first see it, you're a bit off put because it doesn't flow like typical films. Because the only way to describe it is the end spoilers. Like I said, your character gets right off the bat, before we know much about him, we don't know a little bit about his family. Boom, he's put in this bit, and you think, okay, he's going to do more jobs, he's going to get pulled more and more into it, and then he's going to meet these people, and hey, this is better payday, so I'll lie to my wife, and I'll keep doing it. No. The first time, very quickly, boom, this happens, a gun gets shot, this guy gets shot in the face, he gets arrested, okay, didn't see that coming. Then he's in jail, and then, oh shit, now his wife is dead. I can't say the first time I saw it, I didn't see it going the way it did, story-wise. So that made it a little bit refreshing. It didn't feel as typical compared to other movies. And then Caruso's like, fine, I'm going to talk, as he puts two and two together and realizes Michael Rappaport was the cause of this. And I like the intelligence of this, where he tells who did it, And make sure to put my name on it too. Why? Just if you don't, they don't know that I said it. And the one person he doesn't say is his cousin, Ronnie. So people on the streets, and they fuck over, and Nick Cage beats the fuck out of Michael Rappaport and kills his ass. So Caruso serves his 3 years. He's bonding with his daughter, as well as this girl who's like a babysitter, kind of a maid. I'm not maid, but babysitter named Rosie. And I think there's more that could have been done between Caruso and her. Because when they get married, I'm like, okay, I knew they were friendly with each other, but not to the point of marriage. I thought that, not out of the blue, but almost. So maybe a little bit more between them would have been nice to see. Sam Jackson does get back to the picture. His eyes tear up because of the wound. And the first time it's like he gets the opportunity to beat the hell out of Caruso a bit. But then throughout it, they start to bond a little bit. Would have been nice to have some deep conversations. But this movie doesn't have that type of stuff. But I mean, kind of like Michael Mann's Heat. You sometimes there be these deep, meaningful conversations among this crime drama stuff. You don't have a whole lot with that. Probably the most is between Caruso and Nick Cage. I wouldn't say they're deep or meaningful, but sort of. It was nice to see those two work together. Because when he gets out of jail, Nick Cage, his father has just died. And he knows that Caruso's wife had just died. And this one's over with Cage. It's just, there's a band at the club. He's like pumping up. What's going on, man? My father just died. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? But he sells crazy. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Just his behavior, his demeanor, the way he looks, even with the facial hair. He's a guy that you get that ticking time bomb vibe from him, and interesting. It's always interesting with him in it. Like he thinks Caruso's wearing a wire, roughs him up, and he's like, "Sorry, it's been a tough week. Come with us. Come on, come with us." Probably one of my favorite scenes is there's a guy messing with one of the strippers in the club. And this is what I'm talking about with how they they try to do this thing where they keep trying to swerve a little bit with the story, which is one of the aspects I liked about it. He tells Caruso to light the cigarette, and he's talking about how, what was the line? How the difficult become the repulsively impossible. Thought that was an interesting line. And you see how violent he is. Then it cuts to making the guy dance half-assed naked while people are hooping and hollering, so the guy feels embarrassed. So he's able to do stuff in kind of a funny way, but there's always this vibe with Cage that he's a time bomb ready to blow, and you kind of don't know what you're getting with the guy. That's why there's a part of me that almost wanted to see a whole movie just on this guy. Because he was definitely the most interesting character in the movie. Ving Rhames, that's another guy that was in this. He's in this as well. Stanley Tucci, as one of the cops working with Sam Jackson. So like I said, there's a lot of recognizable people in this. And of course, ultimately they find out what Caruso's doing, and you find out, by the end of it, Caruso and Nick Cage have a confrontation in a bar. Which I was a bit, again, surprised by, because you think it's going to be some big car chase, some big shootout, some big action set piece. That's not the case. Some people may be disappointed that's not the case, but it didn't bother me. Because it's just more of this kind of, not intimate, but smaller confrontation. and Caruso uses a bit of his smarts in a way. Super spoilers because he knows Cage can outfight him. So he's beaten up a bit, but he's able to hit him with a bottle. And by the end of it, he gets arrested, Nick Cage, but then Caruso was wearing a wire. So it works out at the end. Like I said, I like that Sam and Caruso kind of grow a bond with each other. Like I say, it would have been nice. There's a little conversation where Caruso's kind of at wit's end. And I would say when he's trying to try that type of performance, at this point, that seemed like the weakest part of his acting. Maybe that's just me feeling that way, but again, when we hear him cry out for his wife, when he finds out that she died, when there's a scene with him and Sam Jackson, and he's like kind of breaking down, it's just not, again, that's not the highlight of Caruso's acting, at least at this point. I mean, that's the thing with, maybe that's the thing with Caruso, is just, that's just not the kind of actor he is. Which sometimes that's the case. I think that's the case with him. But the rest of it, I liked his kind of calmer demeanor. I think that's where he fits best. Calmer, but at the same time, a little bit of intensity, his dialogue. Like when he decides to wear the wire for them, he's like, all I want is what I had before all the fuckers came through the door. And that includes you. And Ronnie, and you, and everybody. Now, as a man of honor, do I have your word that when I do this, this is done? Those moments I do like Caruso quite a bit. Always when he says a fun one-liner in CSI Miami. So, like I said, I like the cast. I like the story. Didn't move in a typical way. I guess some sites label this an action movie. I have no idea why. You'd be very, very disappointed if you did think that way. Like I said, would like a bit more heartfelt conversation between Caruso and Sam. Because of the way the story is structured, you don't have as much between Caruso and Nick Cage as I would have liked. Because I like the way they interacted with each other. I would like to have seen even more of that. Maybe not as much as like a Donnie Brasco type of theme, but I wouldn't have an issue with that either, if that was the case. I know like Roger Ebert said that the story meandered and went all over the place. I get what he means, but at the same time, that in a weird way, that was a little bit what made it refreshing in a way. So overall, yeah, I do like Kiss of Death. Granted, kind of a weird title when you think about it with the movie. But, I mean, I guess as good of a title as any. Maybe it's a film no one really talks about, but I thought it was a pretty good flick. But it depends how you feel about the actors, including David Caruso. If you don't like them, I don't think this is going to change your mind. I do. It was nice to see him as the lead. And so that helped. And like I said, Nick Cage is he's fun in it as well. So, with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.